Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. So this is our multi-specialty sonography bachelor degree admitted student session for fall 2023. So congratulations first off on your acceptance. It is an honor to be accepted to this program. It was very competitive, so congratulations on that. So what this session is going to be is we have a few people with us here that are a part of the college, including myself and admissions. We're just going to go over some important information such as some advising stuff, math placement exam, stuff about clinical, and just course setup. So we do have Becca Bocart with us here. She is our program director. She's the one waving. And then we also have a few others, including our Mandy Tanner, who's our clinical coordinator. And who else is with us tonight?
Leslie, our concentration coordinator, but she has sick kiddos, so her camera's off.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
And then we do have Brooke Clements as well. So she is our advisor who will be working with you once you start signing up for classes.
And then so Lisa's on as well.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so Lisa Johnson is our trio advisor. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that and do a more in detail discussion here in just a bit.
Awesome. And we will have everyone introduce themselves here in just a few slides. But first off, Becca, do you want to tell us what multi-specialty sonography is all about?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and get going on that. So congratulations. Like Sydney said, this is a very competitive program right now. And I'll kind of mention this, all of sonography, no matter what specialty you choose, is really very popular and in high demand right now. It's actually the most, I think, any of us can say in our careers. So you've picked a very popular field, but you've made it into the few select that get to be educated and move on and be sonographers. So congratulations. For those of you that aren't super familiar with multi-specialty sonography, I actually feel like I shouldn't be the one describing this. I feel, Mandy, would I be putting you on the spot if you could just kind of do a background on both of the two concentrations?
Yeah, I can. So, hi, I'm Mandy. I will introduce myself. I'm the clinical coordinator for multi-specialty. So I do teach the OBGYN classes, but also help with the clinical side of things whenever you go off into clinical in your second year in the summer. Some things about multi-specialty sonography. So it's broken down into two different modalities to say. One is abdominal and one is OBGYN. With the abdominal, you also have small parts, and you can see off to the side here, those include your breast, scrotum, and thyroid, but you do a lot of abdomen. So in the abdomen, you're going to be looking at the liver and the pancreas, the aorta, the kidneys, and then you have more exams broken down into retroperitoneal whenever they might look at just the kidneys and the bladder. And then for OBGYN, we do a lot of pelvics looking at the uterus and the ovaries. And then we also do OB first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. You work a lot with physicians in both of these modalities, whether it's talking to OB doctors or radiologists. So lots of different things that you can dive into and specialize in multi-specialty.
Thanks, Mandy. That was great. Yeah, and I didn't do a very good job. So as Sydney, my name is Becca. I'm the program director for both sonography programs. So I let Mandy do that and Leslie as well. She's just not able to be on with her kids are ill, but I am in the cardiovascular sonography specialty. So you may, teaching wise, that's my specialty area. I went to Nebraska Methodist College and graduated a long time ago. So that's my wheelhouse when it comes to specialties. But Mandy and Leslie are your go-to for everything multi-specialty. They have a vast amount of knowledge, a lot of experience. And so, they'll be able to help you and instruct you and help you with clinical as well. So, all right, next slide. And feel free to intervene or ask any questions throughout this. I feel like this can be a lot of information at once. So we'll do our best to make it as simple as possible. So here at Nebraska Methodist College, we've been doing sonography for a long time. We recently went through our accreditation site visit and passed. And so we are a great place for you to earn a degree and get a job at an accredited facility yourself. We do have 2 tracks here. And that's what makes us special, I think, and stand out amongst other reasons. We have a bachelor's degree, which you're well aware of. That's what you guys are all in. And then we have an associate's degree as well. Now, to be in that associate's degree, you would have to have every single prerequisite done. And so that is, you're in the bachelor's track. So we're going to focus on that moving forward. If you want to switch slides, Sydney. Okay, so I made this color coordinated, which hopefully makes it a little bit easier for you guys. So your color's yellow. So when you follow this, and it sounds silly right now, but knowing the difference between the 2 programs, because I mentioned we have an associate's program and a bachelor's program, you're going to be a part of both by the time you're done with this. So remember your color, and that will make it easier. You can switch, Sydney. Is it being slow again?
It's being slow again this time,
Okay.
yes.
It did that. Yeah, it's because I'm here. Okay, so here's you guys. This is where you guys are all at. You're going to be starting here at the college in the fall, August 14th, I believe. Don't hold me to that date. But you're going to start in the fall and complete your prerequisite coursework. So those are your classes like your A&P, your maths, your English, psych, and the list that you'll have available. You'll know you'll need to make sure you complete. That fall semester, you'll also get to participate in what we call a sonographic experience course. That's a course that all sonography instructors are a part of. So myself, Mandy, Leslie, we will all be helping you with that class. And basically, that's an opportunity for you to stay active as a sonography student, because here at the college, we have many nursing students, but we also have a big health professions program. But we don't want you to get lost in the mix. So we really try to focus on you staying in touch with ultrasound. So this class allows you to play around on the machine. I think a lot of sonography students that maybe you in the future, they think they're going to like get it during this class and be able to scan. That is not the case. So it's really to expose you to the field and to show you what's coming and get you excited about what you're going to learn. So that's a really fun course for people to just be in the lab and get a feel for what they're going to experience. And then in the spring, you'll continue your prerequisite coursework. So Brooke and Lisa will both be talking as far as advising goes, but really your schedule may look totally different from someone else's depending on what you have. But the goal of the fall and spring semester are to prepare you for that sonography focused portion of the program. Some students choose to take that summer off, and that is just fine. That's how our program is built. Some students like to maybe, if possible, knock out a class or 2. Pathopharmacology has always been a class that some students like to get out of the way in the summer, which will lighten their load in the fall. Not required, but we do have some options to work with your schedule here at the college. Okay, Sydney. So here's where your color becomes important. So that was your first year. So the following year, so 2 falls from now, so that will be 2024, this is where it gets real as far as sonography. So even though you're technically not an associate's student, you're going to become an associate's graduate. I know it sounds silly. So in the midst of your 4 years, you're going to graduate twice technically. So this is where you've already finished your prerequisite coursework. And those associate students, they already did their prerequisite, whether it was somewhere else or however their path looked. And then you guys meet together. So we choose a small group for you guys because we also know we're going to have associate students to join. So you guys will all be aligning in this second year for you and the first year for your associate. So in my experience, it's been really fun because your bachelor's group that you guys will be starting in the fall together really start to build a bond and get to know the college. And then you join this associates group the following year, and you guys become what we call your own cohort. So it's been fun to watch. So in the fall, as I mentioned, that is where you're going to start scanning and really learning the field. So right off the bat, you'll be in the lab working hard. You'll be doing scanning courses, and you'll be finishing. We have sonographic seminar in there. You'll also be doing your pathopharm, as I mentioned, if you didn't take that earlier, some humanities courses, and you have your sonographic physics course, which we'll talk about here in a bit. And then you also have another cross-sectional anatomy courses. So you can see that fall semester really varies across all the different departments, but you'll get a lot of exposure that first semester. Spring is that's where we're all in right now. And that is where you get to really dig into your specialty areas. So Mandy described your two specialties, so abdominal and then OBGYN. This is where you really dig into the meat of both of those modalities. You get into the didactic material and also into the lab. And it's a lot. And that is when you really get to learn the most, I would say, content right off the bat. Meanwhile, you're also, if you have arts and sciences courses, you're maybe doing a couple here or there. But really, I would say that spring semester is focused mostly on your sonography stuff. Physics boards is listed there. You can see under spring in the middle last. So I don't know how much research you've done. Hopefully you have done your book work on this, but you'll be sitting for physics boards. Sonographic physics is all the ins and outs of the machine and how we can make the best image possible on various patients and such. So it really is a whole different physics. But the physics that you'll be taking that first year helps set you up for success. So your sciences are really, really important. Your AMPs, all of that set you up for success for this portion of the program. Your physics boards will be taken right after that spring semester. So I use the example of the students that we have going now. They're finishing up we have 5 weeks left, 6 weeks, somewhere along that line. We're done with the semester on May 5th. They will have 1 month to sit for their physics boards. We really like to push them to do it as quickly as possible while all that knowledge is fresh. By the time you leave, you'll have almost two full a semester and a half of physics. So we prepare you for that board exam, and then you sit for it right after the spring semester. So that's one of your 3 board exams that you've already taken at this point in the program. So then that summer, you're busy. There is no taking that summer off. You have, once again, sonography coursework. So you will be on campus 1 day during the summer, and then maybe arts and sciences, depending on what you have brought in or what you have left. And then this is the part where people get really excited, and rightfully so, is you start your clinical rotation. And so your first clinical rotation, it's that in the red there, you'll start 3 to 4 days a week that summer. So if you think about this, you are really utilizing your fall and spring semester to prepare you to walk into clinical. And then you're continuing to learn and get better at this point. Any questions? I feel like this slide is probably like the biggest and has the most information. Okay, next slide. So year 3, so that was 1 and 2. We're at year 3 for you. You've already been in clinical for the summer, so you're feeling more confident. We're going to switch to the fall now. And so now you're in year 3. So you're continuing with your sonography coursework 1 day a week, maybe arts and sciences, depending on your load. And then you're still in clinical in the fall semester, 3 to 4 days a week. Mandy will be giving you a background on clinical here in just a bit. But just so you understand the layout in your semesters, that's what it looks like. And then spring is it. I mean, it's not it for your education, but as from a sonography standpoint, you're now in your 3rd semester of clinical, 3 to 4 days a week. You're doing some sonography coursework in the class, maybe some outside, maybe finishing arts and sciences courses as well. But not only at this time, you're also studying for your board exams. So I mentioned you have 3 board exams that you're eligible by the time you graduate. So you've already taken your physics. We talked about that one. And then we talked about the 2 specialties that you have, abdomen and OBGYN. So one of our policies is that we have you guys sit for at least one of those 2 specialties, whether it be abdomen or OBGYN, before graduation. So that spring semester, it's such an exciting time, but also it's a time for you to hopefully take your board seriously, get one knocked out of the way before you graduate. And so you'll graduate, like our graduating class is May this year, and you will graduate. And a lot of people do utilize that graduation walk as a group because you guys are getting so close and working so close together. That's usually a really special day. And you will graduate with your associate's degree at that time. So one thing that is exciting is you get to work. Hopefully you've taken this semester, we'll be supporting you in your career path. We have a career department that will talk to you about finding a job, getting your resume set. We have a lot of support when it comes to that. And then you'll be applying for jobs. I would say, between both our programs, cardiovascular and multispecialty, I mean, do I dare say 70? I would say 75% are hired at this point. So, and I might be even shooting a little low. So you can see like the jobs this time around, and I hope it's like that for you guys. No guarantees, the job market may change, but this is where you can go work in the field at this point. So that's what makes our program very special, is you get to actually work as a sonographer and now move on and finish that final year of your bachelor's degree online. So you're making money. Hopefully your hospital's paying, for part of it, if possible. We do a lot of tuition reimbursement nowadays. And you're making money and just finishing that coursework online. So you see that summer year, you've graduated with your associates, you're hopefully working out in the field, you're doing your online work that summer. If you can go ahead and switch, Sydney, to the next one. And then that leaves essentially 2 more semesters online, finishing that bachelor's degree portion. And then we like to get you done within those 3 semesters of graduating with your associates, and you have now locked in a bachelor's degree, which is really a great opportunity for you to take advantage of and get that done while you're with the college. So I think that is so much information. Does anybody have any questions about the layout, about what your path will be? I usually overload you with information first. Okay, I'm gonna leave this up to Brooke.
Hi, everybody. We will be meeting here somewhat soon, but I wanted to reintroduce myself. So my name is Brooke Clements. I work with Lisa Johnson. She is our TRIO SSS advisor, so she will be talking a little bit about that program. But even if you join that program, all of you likely will meet with me first for that first initial registration. So we're going to go over some of the requirements for you. You will be getting some information on a math placement exam, probably coming later in April, if not here in a few weeks. So that will be coming to you with more information on how to take the exam. The biggest thing to know and remember is if you already have a math class, which is college algebra equivalent, we're not going to make you repeat it. Okay, so this is really just a placement exam to see where you're at. And if you already have a course transferring in, we can put you in a support course or some other math help for you, just to make sure that, especially if you're taking that physics course the first semester, that you've got support for that class, because there is some math involved in that class. We want to make sure you're supported through that. The really nice thing about ALEKS is that it's a system where you can practice, you can get comfortable. So even if you haven't had math in a while, or you are nervous about math, you don't have a transfer credit coming in, you can really get comfortable with it and kind of reduce that anxiety before you actually take the exam. So don't stress about it too much, but the biggest part is that we want you to get it done as soon as possible in the summer so we can make sure we finalize your schedule for fall. So be on the lookout for that, but that would be coming down the pike probably here pretty soon. So as you go through the program, part of Lisa and I's job is to make sure that you are completing all of your graduation requirements. The last thing we want is you get down to the end and we forgot a course, right? So we do not want that to happen. So there's a couple of resources that we will use with you. The main one here is on the bottom with the red arrow. That is your advising sheet. So you and I will work through that every semester just to make sure everything's coming over for transfer credit, but also that you're taking the right classes in the right order. On the top is also a degree audit that we have that you can also use. It's really a preference of which one you like. We can go over that when we actually meet. The really nice thing that for your group is for the general education requirements. So those are your math, your science, your humanities courses. We have different course formats available. You do have some flexibility, especially this first year, on what some of your courses will look like. Your science courses are going to be on campus, right? Like those are going to be big ones that you take on campus. But for your other courses, we do have some options with online or hybrid courses. So once we meet, we can really kind of work through that and see which options are best for you.
And before I move on, I think a good time to introduce Lisa, if you're available to kind of discuss what the TRIO program, if you can give a background and just give everybody information on that, that would be awesome.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Johnson, and I'm the director of the TRIO SSS Student Support Services program. We're a program that serves students in any bachelor's seeking program at Methodist. And we provide a lot of supports to the students in our program. However, we are only able to serve students with certain characteristics. So we're a federally funded program that serves students who identify as first generation, meaning the parent with whom you lived with the most when you were growing up did not earn a bachelor's degree. So let's say you maybe come from a household where you lived primarily with your mother and she did not complete a bachelor's degree in college, you'd be considered first generation. If you were part of the foster care system ever, typically students coming out of foster care are considered first generation automatically. And so one of the characteristics or eligibility requirements that we are looking for is first generation. A second characteristic is low income. We use certain poverty guidelines to identify students who may be low income, or if you are a student who identifies as someone with a disability, that can be a physical or emotional disability, a mental health disability. We serve students with disabilities as well. So you need to be only one of those to be part of our program. We provide things like help with textbooks, so you don't have to buy all of your textbooks. We have a large library that you can borrow from. We provide some assistance paying for things that might help you prepare for your board exams. Specifically for sonography, we have like sonography flashcards, physics flashcards, things that would really help you in your courses. We provide writing assistance, so like help writing papers, because even though students are surprised sometimes when they show up for a healthcare degree that they still are writing a good amount of papers. So we help with that. We provide about $60,000 in scholarships to our students, and we help them look for a lot of external scholarships as well. So we just provide a lot of individual one-on-one support for students. So students in our program have access to all of the resources available on campus already, but we give them the extra level of support and a lot of one-on-one individualized attention to, whatever unique needs you may have. Many of the students in our program are single parents, and so that brings its own unique challenges when you're in college getting a degree. And so we provide a little extra support for our students who may also identify as parents. So we have an application process. Our program is really competitive to get into. We only serve about 85 to 90 students at any given time. And so if you think you might be interested in applying, I encourage you to apply early. And what we typically do then is we might meet one-on-one. and do a little bit more of an interview to get to know you better. If you're admitted into the program, then you get access to all of these resources, and then I would be your advisor. So initially, like Brooke said, you will all likely meet with Brooke first. And then if you become part of our program, then I would become your advisor as well. So that's a little bit about our program. So hopefully, if you think you might be interested, go ahead and apply. Our information is on the website, and Becca, I forget to send you more about our program, but Becca will also have information about our program available. So that's it for me.
Yeah, Lisa. And also at the end, I left you have your contact number or information
Great.
so we'll share with that. So I think if any additional questions, but that was very, very helpful. So I encourage anyone that thinks that they might be able to qualify for that, definitely go for it, because a lot of students have benefited. That's for sure.
And that,
yeah,
sorry, Becca. And when we meet initially that first time, if you've forgotten to apply or you aren't really sure, that's a conversation that you and I can have as well, and we can get you connected with Lisa. I've walked many students down to their office before, so we can really kind of talk through that process too if you need help with that, if you haven't got connected before we meet. So
I would agree with that. Yeah. So if you don't apply right away and you decide maybe a year in, gosh, I should have maybe joined, we're still there. So we encourage you to apply early, but we're still here even if you decide later on that we're for you. So
yeah, that's a great point. And I feel like Brooke and Lisa are being modest too, because their role is well beyond any of this. I mean, they truly do a great job about supporting students, supporting us as faculty. We can say the same thing, making sure that we all work as a team to ensure that you are all getting what you want. And I think you'll learn that when you do your orientation and care days, which we'll talk about at the end. But that's what's really also very special about Nebraska Methodist College is it's a small cohort. It's a smaller college, and we really do pride ourselves on taking care of our students, ensuring they get what they need. So Brooke and Lisa do a really great job on that. So thanks. Okay, the sonography lab, ultrasound. So I don't know if any of you have gotten to go with Sydney. She gives great tours. And so when she's doing her admissions part, and you could still do this if you haven't already. I'm throwing that out there, Sydney. But come on in and check out our ultrasound lab. So this is a picture of it. It's actually an old bank vault. It's the building that's actually right down the street from the college. So if you've been to main campus, we're down the street. We're really close to Dodge, right off Dodge Street, by a Midwest Minor Medical or something along those lines. But it's an old bank building, so you can actually see we call it the vault because it was a bank vault at one time. Yeah, she's using the pointer. That's a big old bank door that you don't want to close probably. And so then we also have 5 of those machines that you can see there. Brand new Philips ultrasound machines. So we have 5 of those, and then we have 1 portable machine that's brand new. So overall, we have 6 new machines. A lot of these machines are being used in local and distant clinical sites. So it really helps you prepare for hopefully an easier adjustment. Although there's so many different ultrasound machines out there, we can't have everyone. But we really do pride ourselves on our new technology, and it's been really helping us. For you guys scanning OB, we have, and Mandy does that. She might be able to add to that. We have 3D ultrasound. So those baby ultrasounds, a lot of people do have seen those out in the field or their own. So we do utilize volunteers in the lab. So that's where Mandy's at right now. She's working with the students for OB and utilizing OB volunteers. So pregnant volunteers, you'll get to scan during labs to practice on. So then when you go out into the clinic, you feel more prepared. And that has really benefited our students. In our lab, we utilize our scanning courses and we integrate those with labs. So you'll learn didactically what you need to for your specialty, and then you'll be in the lab scanning and getting or preparing yourself overall for your clinical rotation. And then that's really, when you're in clinical, that's where it all kind of comes together, because you're scanning actual patients with actual pathology and different body habitus. And so you get a lot of different experiences in that clinical setting. When you're in there, you'll just wear any solid colored scrubs. And so don't run and go buy anything right now. You guys are bachelor students, so you can wear what you have for that first sonographic experience class. But a lot of people ask that. You'll need scrubs more so come that second year. And so you can reach out at that point. But the bookstore does sell scrubs if you want them. Eventually, when you get to clinical, you'll have navy scrubs. So if you were going to purchase some, navy would be your color. And then you'll have a patch from the bookstore indicating, you know, a sonography student. All right, so the highlight of everybody's experience is clinical. So I'm going to pass that on to Mandy.
Hey, yeah, I think a lot of it was covered with, you do go to clinicals 3 to 4 days a week. Most of our sites are within the Omaha area. We do have 1 or 2 sites that are further away in Fremont or Iowa. Typically, at least right now, your days off from clinical are on Wednesdays, because that's usually whenever you're in lecture or in lab. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, typically you are in clinical on those 3 to 4 days a week. The way we have the arrangement right now on how you rotate is every other week. So you would go to OB 1 week and do a rotation there, and then you would go to a general site doing abdominal and small parts another week. So right now, that's kind of how we have the rotation currently for our students. You also have competencies that have to be completed. I think there's 25, 26 competencies, but I wouldn't worry about those right now. You have other stuff to do before we get to that point, but that's just a little bit about clinical and how that works come that time in your summer semester.
Thank you, Mandy. So this is going to be your to-do checklist. So I have been getting a lot of questions of, do I have everything done? Am I good to go? Which is awesome. Definitely keep in good communication with me. So right now, really the main things to kind of concentrate on are going to be making sure that you have your FAFSA in, and that will need to be the 2023-2024 FAFSA. So if you don't have that in yet, definitely get that done as soon as you can. Coming up here in the next few weeks, we will release our registration for what we call Care Day. And Care Day is going to be our student registration day. So we will take care of a lot of different things during that time. Typically, it is going to be a 4-hour time period that you come to campus. We'll have the business office people come in, people from IT or educational technology group, and we'll make sure that you have a lot of stuff taken care of. Those are typically about 3 dates that you can choose from during June or July, and you'll be able to register for that once that online registration comes available. They do fill early sometimes for certain dates, so if there is a certain one that you want, just make sure you do it once you see that registration come through your email. For email, definitely make sure that you're checking that every couple days. Anything important that we send is usually done via email. And then also check your spam folders and your junk folders as well, just in case something ends up there. Brooke, who is your advisor that you heard from earlier, she will be who works with you to set up that fall schedule and register for classes. Late spring, so coming up here in April is when you can keep an eye out for that. A lot of you are coming right out of high school, but same thing with transcripts that you see there. We will need an official transcript once you graduate high school sent, just so we can make sure that everything went well with graduation. If you are currently in college, also please make sure that you send us any updated classes that you may have completed so we can get your transfer credit updated as well. Student orientation will be the Friday before classes start. So you all will be starting classes on August 14th. That's a Monday. Student orientation will be on August 11th on that Friday. We don't have a time for that yet, but more information to come. This is all of our contact information. So myself, my name is Sydney Payton, and then we have the other people who talked today. If you would like, you can go ahead and screenshot this or take a picture of it just so it's readily available. This is also being recorded as well, so you can watch it on YouTube. We'll post it and you'll have it then. All right, so now it's time for questions. I know that is a lot of information all at once. So if you would like to, you can either type in the Q&A chat that you see, or you can unmute yourself. That is always a little bit better if you feel comfortable and ask questions that way.
Sorry, Sydney. If somebody, feel free to pop in and add any questions. I do know one that's been asked at every session for every specialty, so I'll just start with that. Maybe that'll open up some questions too. Is talking about work and what does can I work during this program, and what does that look like? So I always think that's a really good question. It's one of the harder questions to answer, I think, for us, because it really depends on you as a person and what you can handle. So I'm always careful when I answer because there's no right answer for anyone. What I can tell you is that doing this, being in this college, working in my position for 5 years, is I would say majority of our students do work in sonography. However, it's interesting because it gradually declines over time. I think you heard Mandy say, and even me when I was explaining the schedule, you start clinical that summer of your second year, and that's 3 or 4 days a week, full days. Like, so it's almost as if you're working. That's at your own job that you're paying for, really, but learning what you're about to do. So I think that students really handle working, but if you're someone that gets overwhelmed easily, then I think you really need to look at options as to how you might be able to either save money before you start, or however that looks for you financially, and just be cautious, because no matter what, even your first year, I mean, you have your arts and sciences courses, your anatomy, your math, and all those, your physics. Those are really important courses. And so I would hate for you to overload yourself with work and not be able to manage that, because we do have a lot of resources at the college, mentioned scholarships and whatnot. And we do have support. We have tutors and, student services that help you with time management, so many things that we have. But at the end of the day, you have to make time for your studies. And so I would say, yourself, and I'm always happy to have a conversation with you one-on-one, and what that looks like. But I will tell you, over time, and I think if you talk to any of our sonography students, your work hours definitely taper as you ramp up in that ultrasound program, just because of the demands. If you think about it, that makes sense too, because you guys are choosing a job where we have a lot of responsibility. We're all the eyes and ears doctors. So if you don't image what they need to see, that patient may be treated incorrectly or not get what they need. And so if you think about it, that's what is great about our job. We really have a lot of importance. There's never a dull moment. We always have to use our brains and work really hard and be compassionate with our patients. But we have to work hard to get to that point. This isn't an easy field. So I know that's a lot of information for you to take in, but a lot of our students do work, but you just have to know your limits.
I'll just also, I put it in the chat and Lisa commented as well, just a shameless plug. We do have student workers available on campus. They usually are qualified for what's called federal work study. And so when you're reviewing your financial aid package, that might be an option for you. Basically, it's a way to get an on-campus job. You get paid, and generally we have to work with your schedule, right? Because you're a student, and your bosses are people like us, so we're generally pretty understanding about things, and it's work study. So if you do not have any requirements that day, you can also study. So once you move up in the program, there's also opportunities to earn money by being a tutor. Those are paid positions as well as supplemental instruction leaders. Those are kind of students who lead group study sessions every week based on content that they create. So they're almost like a teaching assistant for the faculty, but they don't have to grade the papers and do all of that. They really help students with one-on-one help. So those are opportunities that are on campus for money that doesn't come in a stressful environment as well.
And I'll piggyback off that a little bit to say that if you think that you may be interested in being considered for federal work study, there is a box on the FAFSA that it's important that you check. And it's good to check it even though you may not think, even if you're not sure you maybe want to be considered for federal work study. If you check the box, at least you're going to get some information about it at the beginning of the year. And then you can always decide from there whether it's a good fit for you or not. So if you haven't done your FAFSA, or you have and you want to make a modification to it to be considered for that, it's important to indicate on that on your FAFSA so that you can be considered for those funds.
That's a great point. Yeah, we have several students doing that right now. So, and it's really working out well for them.
Another question that I sometimes get on these sessions is, when will we meet to register for classes? So right now, just to kind of give you an idea, current students are registering right now for fall 2023. That will begin in early April for that group of students. So do not worry that you are behind. Our current students aren't really even registering yet. So once that Care Day email comes out from admissions, that is my cue to reach out to you. So as soon as you sign up for a Care Day, even if you sign up for one that's in July, I will reach out to you to set up an appointment with you. So we could even meet in late April. You may not come to Care Day in July. So as soon as you sign up for that Care Day, I will reach out to you and we'll get you set up for classes as soon as you want. So that's kind of the trigger, I guess, to kind of get the ball rolling quickly, is as soon as that email comes out from admissions about Care Day, sign up for your day, and then you'll be hearing from me.
Okay, before we end the session, any last minute questions? All right, well, we will go ahead and end the session then. Thank you everyone for attending. We know it is a chunk out of your day, so we're thankful that you spent it with us. We hope you learned a lot about the program. If there is any questions after we end, no worries, just reach out to me via email and I will get you to who can answer your question. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you and congratulations.